and welcome. I want to give all of you the best experience while you listen to these stories. If you have any ideas on how I can improve these videos, please do not hesitate to comment. Before we start, please like this video and subscribe to my channel, and then turn on notifications so you don't miss any more of my uploads. I plan to upload at least 3 to 5 times per week. This story was sent in from someone who experienced paranormal activity in a home that they moved into in North Carolina. So without further ado, let's begin. This is a crazy story. I'll try to shorten it as best as I can. We moved into this house in North Carolina when I was 12. Nothing out of the ordinary started happening until I was 16 years old. Then, all of this happened in the span of just 2 years. When I was about 16 years old, something really strange happened to me that I'll never forget. It was a Saturday in July, and I decided to hang out with my older brother, who was 20 at the time. I went and hung out at his home. In the afternoon, he had some plans with his older friends, and I had to leave. So I walked home, and for some reason, I was so tired. When I got home, I decided to go lay down and take a nap. As I was trying to fall asleep, I could hear my younger brother, 13 at the time, and some of his friends, I assume the neighbor boys, come into the house. They were kinda loud, so I couldn't sleep properly. The louder they got, the more aggravated I became. I turned over to get out of my bed, and there was a boy crouched in my room in the far corner by the window opposite of my bed. He looked to be between 10 and 14. My first thought was, they are playing hide and seek, and this kid snuck into my room. So I say, "Hey man, get the heck out of my room." When I say that, he does nothing, just sits and stares at me. So I sit up and say, "Hey dude, what is wrong with you? I said get out." And nothing. He just sits there. I'm groggy and upset, and now some little kid is in my room. I grab a pillow and begin to toss it at him, but at the same time I'm looking at him, I notice his mouth is moving, as if he's speaking, but no words or noise is coming out. In my head, now I'm thinking, man, what is wrong with this little dude? And as if someone opened a window in a smoky room, he starts to just fade away. It wasn't nighttime, it wasn't a shadow or a blur, it was in the middle of the afternoon in a brightly lit room. I could see all the details, what he had on, the way his hair was cornrowed, his round head and almost almond-shaped eyes, from the purple jersey he wore down to his faded white sneakers. And poof, he was gone. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I thought I was losing my mind. I got up out of the bed, left the house, and stayed over at a friend's house for the weekend. I never spoke of that day. But more stuff happened in that house that made me believe in something. Incident number 2. Around the same age the first incident took place, me, 16 years old, and my younger brother, 13 years old, were spending the night at my 20-year-old brother's house. Around 8 p.m., my mother calls me and says, "I want you and Daniel," that's my younger brother, "to come home now." A little mad because some girls were on the way to come hang out with us, we reluctantly say, "Okay," and walk home. It's about a 30-minute walk. When we get home, my mother is sitting on the couch in the dark and looks scared. I ask her, "What happened?" And she says, "I was laying down watching TV, and I heard the front door open and close. Then I heard you and Daniel and Nay is my sister, who was 15 at the time, and was spending the night with her friends, talking, but it was muffled." She goes on to say, "I said to y'all, hey, I thought y'all were going to be gone all weekend." And it went silent. I waited a few minutes and I heard y'all speaking again, and I swore one of you turned on the TV in the living room. I could look through the crack at my door and see the light flickering down the hall. I get up, but as soon as I get to the doorway of the hall, everything gets quiet and the lights go off. I walk in the living room and no one is there. I check everyone's room and no one is there. My mother had called us and stayed up until we got home. We all slept in the living room that night. Incident number 3. This house had a bathroom that was at the end of a long hallway directly across from my bedroom. My younger brother Daniel, 14 years old at the time, was slightly afraid of the dark. Because of that, my mother kept the bathroom light on and the door open. Me though, I'm a heavy sleeper, so I can sleep through the night no problem. But I would always wake up to my mother fussing about, "Didn't I say leave the light on in the bathroom? Didn't I say to keep the door open if you're not using it?" To me, it just made me laugh. The reason is, my younger sister, 15 years old at the time, was kind of mean. She would do sneaky stuff on purpose. She knew Daniel was afraid of the dark, and she would do anything to terrify him. Hide in the closet and jump out as he made his way down the hall, stuff like that. So I decided, I'm going to catch her, and I'm going to scare her to get a point for the boys. So the first night, my plan was to stay up and catch her, either hiding in a closet, or even better, wait till she goes to the bathroom. I'd hide outside the door, and when she comes out, I'd scare her really good. The first night, I couldn't stay up. I heard someone go into the bathroom, but fell asleep before they left. The second night, I'm ready. I hear footsteps coming down the hall. I leave my door open so I can see as I hide my face partially under the covers. I could see the back of my sister's head and her hair bobbing as she turns into the bathroom and closes the door behind her. I get out of bed slowly and creep up to the bathroom door and crouch in there, waiting for her. And I wait and wait and wait. Eventually I think, okay, she's taking a really long time. So I decided, I'm gonna bust in there and scare her. I grab the knob and I slowly turn it to make sure not to make a sound. I swing the door open and no one is in the bathroom. It is empty. I am confused by this, so I run down the hall to my sister's room, and she is sleeping. I turn on her light, and she is drooling on her pillow. I remember walking back down that hallway, feeling as if someone was just watching me. I stayed up the rest of the night. I could not sleep. The bathroom door and light situation was almost a nightly thing at our house. Either the door was closed or the lights were off. None of us could figure it out. Incident number 4. Behind this house, there was a tin barn. I believed it was where the previous owners stored old cars. And in this barn, there were a bunch of tools and paint cans and stuff left behind. My siblings and I would use it as a hangout. With school friends or neighborhood friends, we would sit back there and party and do all the stuff that teenagers do. Often, our friends would just hang out there, sometimes without us knowing. There was a way to get on the property through some trees and overgrown shrubs that made a little tiny pathway to the backyard. One night, as my sister and I were playing video games in my room, we started to hear light banging coming from the barn, as if someone was just smacking the inside of the barn. In my mind, I'm thinking, it's probably some friends being obnoxious, trying to tell us that they are here. It was about 1 a.m., so we decided to go greet them. But when we get back there, no one's there, no lights are on, nothing is out there. I'm thinking, okay, they want to play games. We decided to walk back to the house, and then bang, bang, bang. The noise starts up as soon as we reach our back steps. Okay, you want to play? I think to myself. I dart to the barn to catch them. There's only one way out through the shrubbery path, but I do not see anyone run that way, nor hear any branches crackling. So we decide to call it quits, make a few calls, and everyone is home. No one's been to my house. The next afternoon, my friends come over, and we head to the barn, and it's covered with handprints. It looked like some child dipped his or her hands in the paint jars and just covered the sides of the barn with hands. The hands were small, like maybe a 3 to 5 year old did it. But the weirdest thing was, some of the prints were at heights that I couldn't even reach. Some were barely off the ground too. Could have been some kids playing tricks, but that small of hands at that hour of night, I don't know. After some more very disturbing things happened at this house, my mother decided to ask around. Some neighbors have lived in this neighborhood for most of their lives, if not all of it. And the story goes like this. The house we moved into used to belong to a woman who used to foster children. 4 kids died in her care due to carbon monoxide poisoning. And in the following year, she died along with 2 kids in a fire. This was said to have happened in the early 90s. We moved into the house in the early 2000s. I cannot speak to this being true, but I remember it being fact to those who lived in the neighborhood. The fact that we lived there for 3 years and nothing ever happened, and then boom, almost every week or month, something was just happening that no one could explain was crazy. We even had neighbors call the police because they saw lights floating around. They thought they were flashlights. They told us as soon as the police arrived, they just stopped. There were no signs of anyone being there or any kind of break-in. The final straw for me was when I was 17 years old. I was laying in my bed, and as clear as day, I heard a female's voice yell, "Joshua." It sounded as if they were standing right next to my bed. I immediately jumped up and packed my stuff and moved in with my brother that day. I am 34 now, and I've never been back to that house. To this day, my family still refers to it as the haunted house in the field. I would like to thank the person who sent this story in for sharing it with all of us. Tell me in the comments what you thought about this story, and if you have any strange experiences or encounters of any kind that you would like to share with me, to share here, please send me an email. My email will be in the description. Before I end this video, I would like to ask for you to please like, subscribe, and share this video so I can continue to share more stories of all kinds from people all over. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to working on the next one for all of you. Goodbye.